Hi, everyone. My name is David Tordi. You can call me David, or Dave, or D, whatever. As long as I know you're talking to me, I'm happy. So to understand if you're talking to me, as long as I know you're talking to me, I'm gonna move forward and introduce you to my basically my first baby born tour called Central Italy. There's gonna be some little surprise at the end of this short presentation. This is a tour that I started designing in 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, and I started running it as soon as I was able to. That was in 2022 with Guided By, and it's always been. I've done 4 departures so far, and I've had an amazing time all the time. And every time a little bit, I've been updating the itinerary, not necessarily upgrading, but like polishing. When it's a new itinerary. And now it's become my oldest itinerary, personal itinerary. I got it by, and it's called Central Italy, and it covers a lot of ground in Central Italy. So I'll show you some of my pictures from my last tour that I did, and it was October 2024, so less than a month ago. We had a blast. We really had a blast. So let's begin. So this is me, as you can see, except for the glasses, which I still have here, but I don't need them to read, so I don't wear them on the screen. I'm the one guiding the tour, so it's a Guided by David Tordi tour, and this is me in one of the many beautiful architectural churches of Cortona. The tour begins in Cortona, Tuscany, and as of this year, the tour stayed in 3 main home bases: Cortona, Southern Tuscany in the area of Sovana Pitigliano, and then final home base, my hometown, Orvieto. We'll talk about this later. This is the crew, my last crew I had on this beautiful tour. It was also a group of friends. We become more than friends, actually, now. We spent a lot of time together, and we had a blast. This is the beginning of our tour. So during our walking tour in Cortona, we happened to show up at the food market of Cortona, incredible place. And of course, we had to stop there because there was no space to go through between the old wall and the food counter. We had to stop. So that day, Rainer, by the way, was visiting us, spending the day, and Rainer and I bought the group some porchetta, parmigiano, and grapes. In fact, you see, this is me bartering for the Parmigiano, 36-month Parmigiano, which was just incredible. On the left is me bartering. On the right is a picture of the porchetta guy. Then we also got to meet a lot of locals, because when you tour places that are when you visit places that are very non-touristy and like residential places like Cortona. Of course, there's some tourism in Cortona, but we're not talking about mass tourism. We're talking about a few people that really enjoy the authenticity of a place. You happen to meet people, and if you say buongiorno and they say buongiorno back to you, you trigger a whole new story. And then the whole group stops, and you shake hands, and you start chatting, and we got to meet some amazing people. These are 2 local people. The lady that I'm showing you now, she's always happy to open her garden to all sorts of visitors, even if she doesn't speak the language. She doesn't care. She invites. She actually grabs you in by the arm and takes you in, and she forces you to see the garden, which is incredible, by the way. And so it was a blast, because she was like, no, don't just stop. Come in, shut up, come in. That was awesome. That was just a great experience. We also happen to meet medieval people, because when you visit places like Cortona, every other week there's a medieval parade, and this is some of our group exiting the hotel in the morning to go to our excursion, and there were people parading, actually getting to the parade all dressed up in medieval outfits for the archery competition of Cortona, which was an incredible experience, which I didn't know. I didn't know was happening. So in towns like this, you have surprises after surprise every day. Then we ended up in Arezzo, one of the most beautiful and underrated towns of Tuscany. This was the day where the antique fair of Arezzo, which is the oldest in Italy, was taking place. And I didn't notice until I made this prepared this presentation. I didn't notice the sky that we had that day in Arezzo was just incredible. Look at that. Looks like a painting. The sky in this picture was phenomenal. But this is the main square of Arezzo, Piazza Grande. This is the headquarters of Arezzo, but also the headquarters of the antique fair. So that day we had a beautiful walking tour of Arezzo with our local guy Axel, and through the antique market. And some of us actually bought some antique stuff, including me, which I had to carry around for the whole tour. But that was another story. Then after the antique fair, we ended up at a local winery in Arezzo. This is us with several sized bottles. And after that, we had a very bad idea. We ended up at a bocce court in Cortona because several people in the group were into bocce. And so when you manage small groups like ours that got it by, even if it's a last minute call, you can kind of manage. And like, is everybody okay with an hour bocce game? And everybody was like, yeah. And so after a lot of wine, I made a couple of calls and we showed up at the bocce court, which was an incredible bocce court. You can see in this picture, there are 3 full courts, and we had a blast. We had a great time mingling with the locals. But by the way, we got to meet the 2 vice champions, 2014 vice champions of Italy at bocce. Yeah? So very professional players. The next day, we ended up in central Umbria. We went to the town of Campello sul Clitunno, and we spent a day hiking in the mountains on the Apennines. So the second highest mountain range of Italy, the spinal cord of Italy. For those who are familiar with the geology of Italy, we have the Alps, where Rainer is doing his beautiful Dolomite tours. And then we have the Apennines, which is the spinal cord of the country that runs from the northwest to the southeast of the Italian peninsula. And in the middle of the country, in Umbria, in my region, we spent the day up on the Apennines with Alex, who's a professional truffle hunter. And this is us walking up the mountain on an incredible day. This is the moment where the dogs were unleashed. Alex has 3 dogs, truffle dogs, and he took all of the three with us, and we had an incredible 3-hour experience in the woods. That was just a phenomenal morning. And this is us in the woods with Alex and the dogs. And this is when we actually found lunch. So this is actually when we got to find some good fresh truffle, and I was asked to do the magic spell on the truffle for a good lunch flavor, and apparently worked because the lunch was incredible. And this is Alex and his truffle business partner Antonio. They were making us scrambled eggs with shaved fresh truffle that we just found half hour earlier. Fresh olive oil, because this is the time of the year. October and November is the time of the year when we get the fresh olio novello, the new olive oil. In fact, also we nickname this tour, I got it by, we nickname it like the harvest tour, because it's the time where you get all the fresh wines and olive oil. You got truffle, you got mushrooms, porcini mushrooms, and many other things. So this was an impromptu lunch. Pre-lunch, I would say, aperitivo. So you see the scrambled eggs on the table with the fresh olio novello, and that was just delicious. And this is the second part of lunch, where we had pasta, homemade pasta. This is called strangozzi, typical pasta of central Umbria, with olio novello and fresh truffle. When you have fresh ingredients like that, don't do anything. Just put it on the plate and eat it. That's it. That's the best you can get. Strangozzi al tartufo e olio novello. This was one of my highlights, one of my wow moments of my own tour. So I still dream about that plate of pasta. I had actually 3 plates that day. I'm not shy. I'm not hiding it. 3 plates. That was just incredible. No, it wasn't pesto, Tom. It was just shaved truffle, freshly found shaved truffle, and olive oil on the pasta. That's it. Nothing else. No cheese, no pesto, nothing. That was just unforgettable. I'll never forget that day. This is Rainer instead, because Rainer that day joined us for the second day on this tour, because he was doing research along the way, and we would cross paths. So he would join us for the day. And this was Rainer doing his own inspection in the kitchen. He was trying the strangozzi. That was awesome. Rainer, did you like it?
I loved it. It was awesome. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, I had to run that day, so I ate in the kitchen, and I had to hustle down to Rome to go grocery shopping because I was flying out the next morning. I always bring groceries. But David, I think maybe your presentation got kicked out, so you may have to restart it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that was just while you're doing that, it was just it was really special to join David for those couple days on his tour. And the truffle hunt was just such a beautiful walk through, through the forest. Just to get out and walk through the forest was amazing. And then to take part in this tradition of hunting truffles with dogs, really special experience. And to go right from finding truffles in the forest to sitting down at lunch, super special experience. And David, I'd eat 3 plates of that too. That looks just incredible, just amazing. Anyway, please continue.
Sure. Yeah. And in fact, we were just in front, this tiny village that nobody knows of, except for some local crazy Umbrians. This is Campello sul Clitunno, the old town Campello sul Clitunno, which probably sees maybe 5 tourists a decade in Campello. As you see, this stronghold, this medieval walled village is completely surrounded by olive groves, because this area of the Apennines produces among the finest qualities of olive oil in Italy, which is one of the countries that produces among the finest qualities of olive oil in the world. So Campello sul Clitunno, it's not even on the map sometimes, and yet we had an incredible experience. We stopped by there for a gelato. Of course, God forbid we don't have gelato after a truffle hunt. It would be a shame, a sin, This is another stop we did that day, because on the way back, we were still staying in Cortona. We stopped by Bevagna for about an hour exploration, and some people had gelato again in Bevagna. So it became a truffle gelato day. And then, so this is Main Square Bevagna, incredible town. This is some of us doing the Italian guys at a bar, the Italian men, sometimes they hang out at the cafe, but they don't know they spend the whole day there. They don't realize they spend 8 hours like a business day at the bar, chatting and having coffee. So some of us just tried to be hired with the job, but they were not using their hand gestures enough, so they were fired. They have to go back and try that again. This is us a couple of days later with my friend and colleague Elena. One great thing about these tours is that we don't have to deal with regular vendors. We have to deal with friends, with local friends, people that have become part of your life, part of your family. This is a good friend of mine, Elena, and she's an amazing local guide. And this is the day we spent a day in Pitigliano. So Pitigliano, halfway through the tour, when we change after Cortona, we go to southern Tuscany in such an incredible place. Look at the backdrop of this picture. I mean, it's just stunning, And then on tours like these, of course, we managed to have incredible archaeological sites, and we were literally alone in this archaeological site. And this is the archaeological park and necropolis of Sovana, with Etruscan findings. And this is all items that were found in the archaeological necropolis. Also, we ended up walking for about a few minutes, nothing strenuous at all, through an ancient sacred road. This is a hand-carved road that's 2,700 years old, still walked by people. Actually, some of them, people use tractors to go through, to move from a field to another. And these were sacred roads built by the Etruscans and recycled in the Middle Ages by the local people, and still today are used by hikers and bikers for their sports activities, but also by farmers and people to walk from place to place without entering the towns, avoiding the traffic of small towns. Anyway, another incredible experience. Next day, we ended up at the Mediterranean Sea, because once you're in Tuscany, you have a lot of coastline in Tuscany, which is incredible. This town was my choice, Porto Santo Stefano, the port of St. Stephen, and this is the water that you have in Porto Santo Stefano. And that day we ended up swimming, because it was an October day, full sunny, and the water was so mild, and we ended up swimming in the Mediterranean before lunch. Then we ended up at lunch at my friend's Leonardo. It was a little restaurant, Lo Sfizio, in Porto Santo Stefano, where I asked him, can we have a quick seafood lunch, something fresh, something nice, but we don't want to spend too long there. And he's like, of course, no problem. And we ended up spending 3 hours there, and it was like a wedding lunch. because he kept coming and coming with new things. And all the dishes that he made were so fresh that he even had to clean them for us. In this case, he was cleaning a red snapper for us. And he's like, yeah, I know you're in a hurry. Don't worry. Sit down and chill. I know you're in a hurry. So we were not in a hurry. So we ended up spending 3 hours there. And it was like a wedding day. Amazing. After that, we went to the sulfur water springs of Saturnia. That's some of us in the water in the background. And we were supposed to spend like half an hour in the water, but everybody said, and we're not going to leave. We're going to stay. So we stayed there until sunset, basically. It was just an incredible experience. This is when you definitely want to bring water shoes, because to enter these water tubs, you need water shoes. Once you're in, it's so smooth, but to walk in, there's a little rocks, but it's just an incredible experience. These tubs, by the way, have been used exactly the same way. They're public, they're free. There's also locker rooms, washrooms, showers. They've been used since the Etruscan times, before the Romans. Even before the Romans conquered central Italy and then expanded through the Mediterranean, the local pre-Roman civilization of the Etruscans used these as tubs for their bathing. It's basically free spa. And when you get out of the water, your skin is completely smooth. In fact, this is us. You see our shiny skin, this is us afterwards, after the bathing and getting dried out before dinner. The next day, after a beautiful dinner, we left Sovana in the area of Pitigliano to our last stop, Orvieto. But on the way, we went the furthest southern point on this tour. We went to Tarquinia, where we visited the unique Etruscan necropolis with all the fresco tombs, collection of hundreds of underground painted tombs from the 7th century BC until the 4th century BC. Amazing experience with our local guide, Isa. This is just one of the many examples that I could show you, but it's an incredible, for those who like ancient history and archaeology, this is just an incredible day. On the way to Tarquinia, if you're interested, we also stopped and looked at a few, not one, but a few Etruscan Roman aqueducts. This is 2-story aqueduct outside the town of Tarquinia. And on the way back, some people on the bus were saying, why don't we go for pizza tonight? And I'm like, no, let's go eat pizza for lunch. And we stopped at a friend's nearby Orvieto, Graziella, another improvised meal. She was available, and she made us what we call Giro Pizza, the lady with the hat. She's 87 years old, and she still runs her business. Actually, she retired from making fresh pasta after 45 or 47 years of running the shop. She was running the shop. She retired, and a year later, I met her daughter, a friend of mine, and she said, "My mom is so restless. She needs to do something. She's opening a restaurant." I'm like, "Yeah, right." And she really opened the restaurant in her own house, and that was 10 years ago. And now she does, upon reservation, lunches and dinners, and she's amazing at making, of course, pasta, but not only. She has an over 100-year-old mother yeast that every day she feeds. And the pizza that she makes for you and the pasta and everything is made with the yeast. So the pizza was outstanding. And we had a Giro pizza. So she brought out pizzas until we said, basta, enough. And after that, we all went to Orvieto and we all crashed at the hotel. This is the funniest moment on the tour when we decided to split the bill and we had to pay cash. And this was when a bunch of Americans and an Italian tour guide started to figure out the bill. That was awesome. And there was the cash on the table. This is a very typical Italian moment where there's people at the table splitting the cash bill. It was the harvest time, the harvest season. So we had an incredible, this year we've had an incredible olive oil season in Italy. We're very happy about the quality and the quantity of the olives. And these are the olives of 3-4 weeks ago. So now most of the country has been harvesting. This is a view from the town of Campello, where we had the truffle hunt. This is a view of the part of the Umbrian Valley, and you see all in front of you, it's olive groves, because that's the area that produces among the best. And that day, after the pizza day and everything, we took a night walk, a digestive night walk, and we had the whole town of Orvieto for ourselves. We had nobody in the square that night. And so we spent like 20 minutes just exploring and enjoying the view of the Duomo of Orvieto, which is one of the most incredible Gothic Romanesque cathedrals in Europe. And this is my hometown, so this is where actually I was, as a kid, I used to play soccer on the side of the church, on top of the stairs. Probably the most dangerous thing you could possibly do, we were doing. And when I look at those stairs today, I'm like, wow, we're alive by miracle, because not only the stairs, but it's marble. It's not grass. It's not dirt. It's marble. So anyway, next day we ended up at the sacred park of Bomarzo. This is our gang in front of the mouth, the beautiful sculpture, 1500s. The sculpture, the whole park has been sculpted by an architect, Piero Ligorio, in the 1500s. So the time of Michelangelo, the Renaissance. This incredible park was sculpted. It's a beautiful, good sized park. And we spent a couple of hours there with a local guide. And for those who like art and medieval Renaissance art, this is incredible, because these sculptures are not sculpted by bringing blocks into the park, but by sculpting the geology of the park itself. So the mouth that you see was actually a boulder that was shaped in the shape of the face. This is an incredible place, and again, nobody goes to, and it's one of my favorites in my own area. After the park, we needed lunch. So we ended up at a friend's winery and olive oil mill, which is called Madonna delle Macchie. And this is their ancient Etruscan underground caves, wine cellars. They are still used by the family, by the Belcapo family, as a wine cellar. And this is after lunch, because Serena, the owner, my friend Serena, she said, "Do you want to take some wine?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. A couple of wines, it's fine." And this is the glasses that she brought. So it was a long day. And then the next day, we had an incredible cooking class where we made some fresh pasta, but also not only pasta. We made some special sauces. We made some special local breads with bacon, black pepper, and pecorino cheese called lumachelle. And you see them at the very end of the table, at the top of the picture. And this is the pastas that we made. So we made the cappelletti, we made tagliatelle, and then we made lumachelle. And then we had some great wines. And throughout this whole tour, being in Tuscany, Umbria, and Lazio, we end up in an area that produces incredible wines. And of course, Tuscany is the most famous of the three regions that we visit on this Central Italy tour. But Umbria and Lazio produce outstanding wines, and often unknown to the biggest public, the biggest audience. So very inexpensive compared to the famous, Barolo, Brunello, or French Bordeaux, Burgundy, and so on. You meet people, but you also meet pets, because this is Francesco. This is the cat nicknamed Francesco because it's in the cloister of the Church of St. Francis. So the cat lives there. It's named Francis, of course, Francesco. And he really likes to hang out. So he came to me, and we had to hang out with the cat. Basically, I spent half the tour with the cat in my hands, visiting the cloister and the church. That was awesome. And these are other friends that we met on the way. Serena, the winery and olive oil friend, and then Graziella on the right with her hat. She will never remove the hat when she cooks. And other friends, Leonardo at the seafood lunch, and this is Dimitri, who served us at the cooking class. Look at his face, because he also tasted the pasta. The pasta was outstanding. It was stuffed with ricotta cheese and spinach. It was just incredible. One other thing that we do on this tour, by staying in my hometown, of course, when my band is available, I'm also a musician. I get together with my band, and this is the night that we perform with my band. Bartender on the left is Valerio holding the mandolin, and on the right, our finest guitarist in the trio, Gabriele, also our arranger. And we made an impromptu concert for the group, and at dinner time. So it was a beautiful night at one of the group dinners. And so music is always a big part of my tours, always has and always will be. And this is one of the many dinners that we've had. Actually, this is a lunch, I think. Yeah, I don't remember anymore. But anyway, it's a moment where we all say cheers and salute. And this is us at the end of the tour, the last day on the tour, waving goodbye to Orvieto and the Valley of Orvieto. And it was just an incredible experience. It was a 12-day, 11-night tour. It's going to be the same duration in 2025 and 2026. And it really is my home tour. So I'm happy to share these pictures with you. Couple of more things. This is the cover of the page, the web page that's being updated as we speak. So starting tonight or tomorrow, the web page will be updated with the new itinerary, because starting 2025, we're gonna add in the itinerary an extra stop. So we used to stay 4 nights in Cortona, 3 nights in Sovana, and 4 nights in Orvieto. Now we decided to stay 3 nights in Cortona, still doing the same identical activities, less driving time. 3 nights in Cortona, 2 nights in central Umbria. In this map is named as Bevagna, but the area nearby Bevagna could be Bevagna, Spello, Montefalco. 3 nights in Sovana and 3 nights in Orvieto. So the total is still 11 nights, 3, 2, 3, 3. 12 days, 11 nights, but we moved a little further into central Umbria. And we adjusted the itinerary a little bit, especially after my previous tour that I had this last October. This is these are my dates for the next years. 2025, I want to do 1 departure that starts October 26th and ends November the 6th. There's still very few seats available on this departure. And the new one that we're opening in the next couple of days is the 2026 tour, which is going to be called Umbrian Tuscany Tour, still Central Italy, but Umbrian Tuscany Tour. Same dates, basically, October 25th and November 5th, 2026. This is it. This was my presentation. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm very happy to answer any questions.